Well, hello, YouTube. Another week has gone by, and here we are together. I'm so happy to be here. I love doing these weekly live streams. So I hope that you're getting something out of it too. Today's topic is what did I call it? Called it insight. What was it? Inner insight. Oh yeah, mind is rootless. Inner insight, as taught by Dudjom Rinpoche. So we've been sitting together for 27 weeks now, and I've been learning not only the technology, but how to present Dharma to a mainstream audience. Of course, it turns out that it's mainly my friends, Dharma friends, who come and visit me here live. But how to pair information and meditation together, because that's my major focus. I'm Loppon Yudron, and I'm based here at the Happy Garden of Practitioners in East Oakland, California, and I want to help you, really blossom your wisdom and compassion by bringing meditation practice together with, the sacred outlook of Buddhism. So, where we're at right now is just one week by week, things have been unfolding. And what started with telling the story of the great 20th century meditation master Dudjom Rinpoche, which I thought would take maybe 2 episodes, is now many, many episodes in. And if you think I'm a total devotee of Dudjom Rinpoche, you're absolutely right, even though I never met him. My teacher's teacher. So, here a comment pop up. Hey there. Hey, Hart, haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you. So, what happened most recently was that I got into telling the story about the discovery of a spiritual treasure, this terma called the Chondro Tuktik, or the Heart Essence of the Dakinis. Well, hello there, Lori. You're the most faithful visitor here on YouTube. Which was precipitated merely by a yogi saying, I need you to give this to me right now. And I'm thinking he was a simple, non-intellectual practitioner, very, very great practitioner, but nonetheless not oriented to the great scholastic traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, because this treasure is totally suited to us. These simple lay practitioners, any could be lay or monastic, but it's for our busy lifestyle. It's very, very appropriate. Cuts to the main point without having to going into a lot of explanations about why. So a lot of people need to have a lot of rationale before they engage in a meditation practice. Oh, Jeff, so wonderful to see you. Okay, yeah, I know you have to leave. What was I saying? A lot of people need logic to think through why they're going to engage in a spiritual practice, and other people just have an intuitive or intuitive understanding, or they're willing to go with the flow because they trust a tradition and they trust an authentic teacher, and it's for the latter category that this contratuktic cycle is really directed, in my opinion. So what Dudjom Rinpoche does is first, so as we've discussed already for you guys who are already here, but I want to also touch base with those of you who are watching after the fact, who may not have built up to this point, is that the common features of Buddhist practice are called shamatha and vipassana. Shamatha being the one-pointed focus, a misnomer, really. We're never one-pointed focused. Our few of us are. But a practice that calms the mind, focuses the mind. And then Vipassana, which implies insight. And in the traditions, the southern traditions, the lowland tradition of the beautiful yellow-clad monks of, Sri Lanka and Thailand, very pure conduct and so forth. Vipassana means insight into the non-existence of a really, truly inherent self and identity, that we take ourselves much too seriously. If you cut through that whole story you tell about yourself, well, it's incredible qualities blossom. And then, but Dudjom Rinpoche is a little different angle on it here. And so we're focusing, what we've done is go through shamatha, and then a Vipassana practice, which can be translated as insight. The Dudjom Rinpoche gave for looking through apparent phenomena, we'll say. What you see with your eyes, what you hear with your ears, kind of. But he's really focused on the visual sense because it's our dominant motor perception. Isn't that right? So I see your point. Insight, these kind of visual, so much language in English, and every language probably is centered around vision. And then we did that last week. I can't say did, but we began to discuss that last week. And then this week we're talking about, how do we, from the Highland tradition, we're going to say the northern tradition of Buddhism, where the Mahayana, or the great path of the awakened spiritual brave heart, the Bodhisattva emerges. How do we look at our inner thoughts and emotions and body, and how do we recognize selflessness? Is it the same practice as the Theravadan tradition or the southern tradition, or is it got a unique flavor? And on top of that, Dudjom Rinpoche imbues everything with his practice as a great accomplished practitioner of the great perfection, Dzogchen. So today we're going to sort that out, and we're going to practice a little bit in that way. I want to say first off that this is the 27th week, as I said before, and I am, it's beautiful summer here. Things have calmed down a little in Oakland where I am. There's not like police helicopters going over, stopping looters at the nearby store, and and so forth. And it's absolutely beautiful here. And I am finding that I want to practice myself. Take some time, practice, and do some writing and studying, things that I don't have so much time for when I'm spending so many hours in a week preparing for this wonderful live stream, which I just adore doing. So I'm going to take off a month now, about. And this is going to be a conclusion of the practice component of what we've been doing here. In a way, I feel of because Americans, and probably Australians too, Jeff, are not familiar. It's a stretch to involve people from our Western societies, non-Buddhist societies, in deities and mantras and so forth, which are commonly practiced before overtly named mindfulness and insight practice, shamatha and vipassana. Yet they bring the mind they bring the insights of shamatha vipassana in a appealing, alluring, magnetic kind of way to the practitioner before they try to do it without the support of visualizations, mantras, and so forth. But here we are. We're in a society where those things are just, somebody's just going to change the channel or tune out as soon as they see an image of a deity sometimes, if they don't have some kind of past life karmic connection with it in particular. Maybe they'll, everybody likes Buddha, right? We like to have those beautiful cement statues in our gardens. And we like to hang those prayer flags also and see them flutter in the wind. So some people have a broad cross section of the public have a connection with the images of various kinds of the Buddha Shakyamuni, but not so much of these tantric deities of Vajrayana. So I'm thinking this is a way to work with our meditation, and without having any pretense that I am a master of great perfection, because I'm not. We can work with the instructions of Shamatha Vipassana for simple people. And that's probably what I'm going to do moving forward. And in the future, I will continue the story of Dudjom Rinpoche. There's so much more to tell just about his life and other treasures he discovered. So we'll do that in late July, unless impermanence takes me, which there's no sign of it doing so far. Okay, so today let's go through the steps. I'm going to sort of unite the shamatha practice. He already taught the very kind of subtle shamatha practice, calm, abiding, peacefulness practice. And then this startlingly simple practice for seeing the nature of the reality around us a little bit. And then move into our practice for our inner, turning our gaze inward and looking at our inner life. All right? So first I want to give a shout out to Heart Sutra, Lori and Jeff, who are here today. Anybody else in the house? If you want to pop on and say hi, now is the time. I don't have a special question for you today. I guess my question would be like, if you're exposed to Tibetan Buddhism at all, did you even know that they had something called Vipassana? If you're another kind of Buddhist, for example, is this a new revelation for you that this exists even in the Tibetan tradition, considering how much the deities, mantra, and so forth are promulgated and put out there? The deep, sonorous chanting of the monks, the making of the sand mandalas, the wonderful voice, the wonderful laugh of the Dalai Lama. These are the main ways that Tibetan Buddhism is known in the West. So you can chime in on that. And I think we'll start right in. I'm going to give you a little overview first of, I guess what I'll do, is kind of run through the Vipassana practice, the insight practice for looking within, and then we can go through and practice it step by step. So Jeff was a student of Jikdrel Yeshe Dorje, who always comes to mind when you think of shamatha and Vipassana. I too studied in the Shambhala system before its orientation changed, and so when it was they taught traditional Kagyu Dharma. The Kagyus were very much quicker at moving up shamatha and Vipassana to the beginning of the path and feeling comfortable with that, more so than the Nyingmapas. And you'll notice, Jeff, it'll be interesting to compare. We all know the system that Jikdrel Rinpoche and, of course, Pema Chödrön brought to the West. I mean, most of us do, because it is so popular and widespread. But it's a little bit different flavor on this. And so let's string together the different ways that we think of the Vipassana that is spoken of in the Theravada tradition, and we see, so many insight meditation centers in the United States. The system they use, they have subtle differences even among them in their Vipassana teachings. And then the system of Jikdrel Rinpoche, which I presume is a Karma Kagyu, or probably Karma Kagyu system, and then this Nyingma system as presented by Dudjom Rinpoche. Alrighty? So, what does he say when it comes time for looking within? He says the point of this practice is to establish that your inner clinging mind is rootless. Clinging mind kind of means the mind that is grasping to an identity and grasping, therefore, to what it wants, what it doesn't want, and so forth. It's rootless. You can look and look and you can't find the root of it. So he says at this point you turn inward. And whether there's nothing arising in the mind, many things arising in the mind, or a proliferation of a multitude of things arising in the mind, far more likely, right? You do a process of self-inquiry, talking to, well, what is self? Self really may not be more than our thoughts. Let's see. So we're going to have a conversation with the thoughts as they arise in our meditation. So it's good to do some shamatha first, and we will when we do go through the formal practice together. And then turn your gaze inward and ask that first thought that arises, or the first one you can catch. Hey, thought, where did you first come from? Hey, thought, in the end, where are you going to go? What shape are you? What color are you? So you're looking for the origin of thoughts, the location of thoughts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 aspects. The origin, the location of thoughts, where it's going to go to, or where it has gone to after it's disappeared. What's the shape of the thought? What shape are you, thought? And what color are you? So this inner inquiry is going on. Without thinking beyond that about it, just look, try to find. I think these instructions are common in Mahamudra. Occasionally you'll see them in Dzogchen. And here they're presented as the inner Vipassana. Now, how does this differ from shamatha linked with Vipassana in Jikdrel Rinpoche's system, that Kagi system? Well, in the Kagi system, you're labeling the thoughts. The Vipassana is by labeling those thoughts, thinking, as they arise. Labeling it thinking. You're naturally watching the arising and dissolution of thoughts, aren't you? That'll happen. You could try that out. It's a wonderful system. And that's it. That's the only word they use, and there's no questioning in it. There's no searching so much. And in the Vipassana system, well known from the beautiful Theravadan system of Buddhism, they're using the physical body and often starting with the breath, but not just being aware of the breath, but actually looking sometimes deeper in the body where the breath comes from and so forth, and saying, I think they say rising, falling, those are the words. They use one-word phrases to label. They're focusing on the rising and falling of the breath, say, in the body. Labeling, rising, falling. And then occasionally, for example, if my mind's a tendency to be very go out and glom onto sounds, I've got to Right now there's wind is blowing outside and I have chimes out there, which is a alluring sound to me, not an aversive sound. My mind wants to go there, shooting out that way towards my beautiful backyard. I would say hearing. And then if, a bird flew through over here above me. Seeing. But then rising, falling. And in that we see the impermanence and how ephemeral, and there's no essence there. So it's very much the same. I feel, having not done a lot of that kind of Vipassana, I feel probably the result is the same. I feel that the outer practice that we did last week, as far as I know, is it because Mahayana has a belief that outer phenomena are dreamlike and illusory and apparent but not existent and so forth. And the Theravada tradition doesn't have that. They don't make a lot of claims about the phenomena being, the phenomena exist. They're closed eyes, looking and doing this, shamatha and vipassana practice, and then ornamenting it with loving kindness meditation and so forth, and the various forms of meditative concentration. In that way, they become what are we going to say? Extinguished. They can leave samsara, the cyclic existence, and not take rebirth. A beautiful system of training, but of course our system is different, and we're incorporating external phenomena more. We're meditating with our eyes open, and that symbolizes that, but it also makes us deal with that. And of course the great mission of the Bodhisattva, which we haven't even gotten to yet. 27 weeks is not very long. We haven't even gotten to Buddhism, refuge, yet, or much less bodhicitta. Isn't that funny? But we have the inspiration of these great masters. That's what I've been leaning into. Okay, so I didn't quite finish there with Dudjom Rinpoche's, we'll call it Dudjom Rinpoche's system. So these 5 questions. Without a moment's distraction, you search up and down, looking everywhere solely for this knowledge. So what does this mean in practical terms? Once you've developed your shine, your shamatha, and you're super relaxed and chill, and your body, remember Dudjom Rinpoche said, your body feels heavy and like you don't want to do anything, you feel lazy, you don't want to move anywhere. This is the result of one-pointed focus, shamatha, and relaxation, deep relaxation. That unto itself is not going to lead to any kind of realization or enlightenment. You can actually have lots of amazing meditation experiences. People who are really good at shamatha, they have amazing experiences, meditation experiences. And you can kind of get wrapped up in that and, very attached to that and lazy and not wanting to do anything with your mind. So in a way, you don't want to, when a thought comes up, you don't want to ask yourself, where are you, thought? Where are you now? Where are you going? You don't want to rouse yourself to do that. I don't know if you've gotten to this place or not, whether it depends on the individual. So it's a little bit like something you don't really want to do sometimes. But you must do something along those lines to gain insight into the nature of your mind, of your thoughts. I'm nothing highfalutin here. Just mean the insubstantiality, the fleeting, ephemeral nature of your thoughts, and that we place so much importance on this all important I. So keep going with that. Keep asking, and without analyzing, without identifying, saying, "Oh, this is it." Well, you can try. You're not going to get very far with that. You may have done this already. I don't know. No, I know Jeff has. So let me see what my notes said. Okay, so you come to an end. What's amazing is that by working through this 5 questions, an end comes to it, and you can rest without any mental activity at all, naturally. It's like, I'm going to add in, like when relaxation people tell you to tense every muscle in your body and then let it go. And tense every muscle in your body and let it go. And that way your muscles, because your shoulders come down from around your neck and you can relax. And remember, Dudjom Rinpoche said, it's like shamatha is like a worker at the end of a long day, a physical worker, laying down his or her basket of harvested. I always imagine a field worker, how exhausted you are. Your muscles have been burning. And you lay down your basket and maybe you lie down in the grass. Total relaxation. That's this kind of state. So here, though, we're mentally making effort at questioning without solidifying, without coming up with new concepts to ornament the old. And then by God, I want to say, it clears things. An open space opens up. A space opens up. And you are able to settle. And then an inner glow comes forth. And it says bliss is unimpeded. I've rarely had anything in my whole life that I would describe it as unimpeded bliss. Maybe once or twice through the blessings of the lamas. So let's, in the next month, if you're game, I would recommend doing this, please. And this is a time where we've been emphasizing these super short sessions, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This is a time when they start talking about those 45-minute sessions. If you can, if you're not, it's really great to do ngundro. If you're involved in your ngundro, I'm not going to tell you to set that aside, Lori. But this is a way to proceed along the path of meditation. I'm going to do it and see what comes up. If what does indeed a state of true bliss come forth. For me, joy comes forth, and a sense of freedom and relaxation. It's really quite wonderful. But bliss, I can't say that. So let's see what happens. So after that, you settle without clinging to any appearances, evenly, naturally, free of any solidity, any constraint or coarseness. These are all translations, actually, of Dzogchen flavored terms. Totally free and natural. Sounds good, huh? Before we do our session, do you have any questions? Alrighty. So I'm going to bring up a slideshow here. Oh, it's on slide 24. How unfortunate. You didn't see this. Oh gosh, I have to remember to reset it next time. Okay. Dudjom Rinpoche's instruction on inner insight meditation. And then we're going to go through the whole sequence, though, before preceding that. In 7-point posture, make your body straight and taut. We're practicing now. Let your breath settle naturally. Sever all mental fabrications. Don't disturb the mind. Allow the mind to settle without creating anything and without distraction. If you can settle like that, that's enough. Now for the outer insight meditation. The eyes are open. And characteristically, the straightforward gaze is associated with the Bodhisattva path as downward gaze, which brings the mind inward, more associated with the path of early Buddhism. Here we're looking at outer appearances as we meditate. They appear, but they do not exist. They amount to nothing but hazy, insubstantial appearances, like a magical illusion. Think that way. Or like an appearance in a dream. Ethereal You can see right through them. Whatever apparent object arises in your perceptual field, gaze directly at its very essence without impeding its appearance. Don't try to make it go away. Gaze right through to its very essence, which is empty, empty essence. Clarity, emptiness, free from the stain of mental grasping, like space, arises naked and unimpeded. That can happen. A 365-degree translucent panorama where your mind is not going out and grasping, wanting this, not wanting that, but you're at the center, like a center of a sacred circle. And your perception can penetrate right through, like going through a window in a wall. Settle naturally like that. Now, turn your attention inward. When a thought, let's just sit, and when the thought arises, we're going to ask it where it came from. Where did you come from first? Silently. Where are you now? Thought? In the end, where will you go? Where have you gone? What shape are you, thought? What color are you? Is there a color there to that thought? Or the next thought? Without even a moment's distraction, search up and down, look everywhere, solely for this knowledge. Don't identify or analyze anything at all. I would say invest anything you find with an identity. You do this for a while, a clear, naked awareness arises, open like the sky. Ineffable means it can't be put into words. All that mental activity is exhausted. Everything's come to an end. With no more possibilities. Entirely free of activity. Like resting when exhausted. Settle into relaxed ease in that very state of naturalness. No mental activity at all. Then this inner glow arises along with bliss, and they're both unimpeded. Without clinging to any appearances, settle evenly in this state of naturalness. Free of solidity, constraint, and coarseness. May the merit of practicing like this together be dedicated to all living beings throughout space, so they may reach the state of enlightenment. So for me, there's a very distinct shift in flavor between the shamatha and the Vipassana. Lori, last week, I don't know if you're still here, but you said you couldn't really feel a shift there. Have you noticed anything yet? Curious if any of the rest of you, as you go through the stages of this series of explorations, whether it shifts your meditation at all. I just love it. I love the practice. It kind of creates a sense of joyful, thought-free. Ah, how so? Lori says yes. Joyful, thought-free light. Not light, like not heavy, that kind of light. It feels like this dropping this I, which when you first hear about it in Buddhism, you think, well, that sounds like terrible psychic surgery without anesthesia. But actually, when you drop that I-ness, suddenly you're free. And it's highly recommended. And then if you drop this sense of things being solid and real in exactly the way our deluded six senses think it is, and immutable, unquestionable, and begin to see phenomena as dreamlike, and wherever you go, to penetrate them with your eyes so they feel less and less solid. Just gaze right through them. Nobody's stopping you. All right, so that's what my best recommendation for the end of June and the beginning of July. And there's more to this last section about, well, if the answers came up to those questions in a certain way for you, what then would be the next instruction? So like if you said, well, the thoughts are there, but they're insubstantial, or for us, it's not in here, but thoughts are like meant. You have an intellectual thought. Oh, thoughts are just chemical processes in the brain, and that kind of thing. So for each response, there's another meditation instruction, so it becomes like a little branching tree of fifth instructions. But I don't want to plant seeds so early in terms of giving you ideas about what you might think. It's better, the process is what's important here. And I remember doing something similar with another master in retreat once, and there were actually people who were going looking in books for the answer to the question or talking to each other and asking them what they think the answer to the question is. And that both of those completely defeat the point of these inner Vipassana, inner insight questions. The point is a questioning. It's a meditation process that blossoms in the asking. And then as you're in a less formalized way, as you're sitting meditation, your mindfulness meditation, whatever form of calming meditation that you do, you can in a less formulaic fashion look at that thought come up. What color is it? Or where did that come from? Where is it now? And in that mystery, in this rest, we talked, I think, some about cognitive science, actually, talks about the aha moment and about this process of doing a lot of inquiry and brainstorming and all that, and then just relaxing and not going for a walk or just resting. Insights blossom. They use the same word, insight. So this will happen. And I'm going to confide in you that I don't have anywhere near the thoughts in this when I sit down to meditate anyway, when I'm not paying attention. When I first sat down to meditate, it was like trains, I said, right? Many weeks ago. Like I saw one train track up on a hillside of thoughts, and then midway down there's another train with thoughts, and as soon as that dissipates, and low down the bottom of the valley there's another train of thoughts, layer upon layer. And now in my system, like anyone, I'm not special, who has done meditation practice for a while with an insight component, there's a long time between cars on the train. Isn't that, and it's such a relief. It's like you're carrying these chains around you all the time, heavy, and set them down. It's such a relief. So I invite you to continue on. And I think because we're wrapping things up for a while, let me go back to another slide here. I'm going to do a formal dedication of merit with you. Okay. Boom. Boom. Here we go. Let me pop over this way. Through this merit, may all beings attain the omniscient state of enlightenment and conquer the enemy of faults and delusion. May they all be liberated from this ocean of samsara and from its pounding waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. All right, any closing words before we say goodbye for a month? I really hope this is being of value to you and helpful. And to the people who are watching after the fact, hi, and I'll see you also in a month indirectly. Okay, bye now.